Charlamagne The God goes at it with Whoopi Goldberg and company and the Yentas of The View. Why is this show even still on? I guess maybe the idea that it's such a train wreck is somehow a rationale for continuing to let them display their ridiculous thoughts and to have a platform to express such thoughts and lunacy and idiocracy, right? I guess let them keep going. We'll see how long this lasts. Time to Talk podcast. Let's get into Charlamagne The God goes on, and the Charlamagne The God, Charlamagne the Fraud. There's several monikers for him. I'm not a huge fan of his. I think he's got some reasonable points here and there, but at the same point, I'm not a huge fan. But anyway, Time to Talk podcast. Let's get into this episode with Charlamagne The God on it, and I want to break this down because this is revolving around. This is the discussion where they talk about Biden pardoning Hunter, and he brings up the idea that obviously it's sort of hypocritical for him to do so, and he lied and all that stuff, and they push back on it. So let's get it.
This is something that's going around right now. A lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, et cetera, as if the other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it?
I mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy, and they were saying that, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him. That's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, nobody's above the law, I respect, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
All right, before she even said, look, just the way she says that, like the arrogance and the superiority and the whole just condescending way, I'm going to stop you, as if she's like automatically going to say something so superior and so profound, and she's going to push back with a retort that is so well thought out and so dismantling of his entire argument. But I want to be clear that his argument, or what he really intended to make clear, was that it's not about the fact, let's just break this down. It's not about the fact that Biden once said, hey, I'm not going to pardon him, and then changed his mind. That's not what it is. What Charlamagne effectively is, what maybe not so effectively, but he pointed out, was the idea that they ran, or they continue to run, or continue to push the idea that they are the party of freedom, hope, democracy, perfection. When they go low, we go high. Everything, they've been doing this for 10, 15, like this is their thing. The very crux, the foundation of the Democratic messaging, their party, I'm not saying it's true, it's all nonsense. We know they're criminals on every level. But they push the messaging is based on, it is literally based on being superior. Like his whole thing with Hunter and not issuing the pardon was to suggest we would never do what they do, what he would do. We would never, and they pushed it over and 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 over again. It wasn't as if a couple times they mentioned it, but then they changed it. No, they literally, the entire Democratic message is based on that level of moral high ground. Now she's going to come in with her silly self. Let's continue.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over?
Oh, I do. I know why. First of all, in giving Biden a slight out, I shouldn't even say giving him an out. The CIA, if you didn't watch my video previously on the actual Hunter Biden pardon, or the pardon by Joe Biden for his son, I got a video link for that. It's either in the description or it's somewhere up here. You should watch that because that really discusses what this pardon is about, because it's not about just the gun charge and the tax evasion charge. Right? It's more than that. Now, Charlamagne obviously doesn't know most of that, so he didn't bring any of these things up. He also didn't bring up the fact that this pardon is ridiculously broad and covers a time frame from 2014 when Hunter Biden was working with Burisma and this entire CIA operation thing was taking place to basically control or get NATO control of Ukraine and Russian assets. That's another whole story. Again, that's on that link in the video I did, I think yesterday. But you should watch that. But that's what this whole thing's about. A pardon that is ridiculous that we haven't seen the likes of since 1972 with Richard Nixon. And that's what this is. And the real reason is not that just Biden decided one day, you know what, maybe I should pardon him. That's not what this is about. She doesn't know anything either. So
Thanksgiving weekend, all of a
No,
sudden.
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over. And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
yes, exactly. That is what, if you make the statement and have the leader of the Democratic Party's wife, Michelle Obama, former first lady, make a statement that resonated through history, that's a mantra for all of you. When they go low, we go high. If that's going to be the thing, then yeah, you need to stay straight and narrow.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that
you're
go out.
mis-
They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He don't have to do
So we're
that.
mad at him because he changed his.
Oh, no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning
But
Hunter
you sound
Biden.
like you're
No.
mad.
If I can get in.
I wish he said that she sounded like she was mad, because that would be like some sort of like anti-woman sort of thing. That would have been misogynistic to call, especially a black woman, to tell a black woman she's angry or mad. That would have really, we would have seen where this really would have went, right? Then again, who knows? Whoopi probably would have, who knows? But yeah, again, he's pushing the point here that it's not just that he lied. It's not just about changing his mind. That's not what this is about, people. This is about the fact that he spent such a considerable amount of time, and the media spent such a considerable amount of time suggesting that the Democrats and Joe Biden were so high in their understanding and their respect for the law. Mind you, Biden was locking people up and putting people away and refused to actually give any type of leniency to people in drug charges back in the day in his time in the Senate, right? He was supposed to be the guy who was sympathetic to people who have drug issues in their family, his son Hunter being the crackhead, but he was locking black people up for this much, a quarter's worth amount of, you can watch that on the Senate floor, by the way, where he talks about a quarter's amount. If you have this much crack, you're going to jail. No ifs, ands, buts about it. So it wasn't back then a problem to be dealt with from a position of treatment in some sense of we need to identify this as not necessarily a criminal problem. No. He wanted to lock people up. But his son Hunter is a whole nother story.
On this, I actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions
Yes, I
and the
understand all that.
impartiality of the Department of Justice.
Yes.
Democrats ran on that. The same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does. But then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Can you explain to me why it is that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearls? He's wrong.
Nobody
he lied.
has criticized Donald Trump more than me or Charlamagne The God.
I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more, but you're missing my question.
Okay.
My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't think people.
I'll tell you what it is. Here's what it is. And I've said this on my channel previously about certain things when it comes to racism or how the way Donald Trump does certain things. People can deal with the fact, and I'm not saying it's good. Again, let me be specific. I'm not suggesting that people should tolerate a man like Trump or his character or the fact that he talks disparagingly to people or he's a misogynist or racist or he says things that can be offensive and he gives people nicknames and he's very disrespectful to people. I'm not saying that's a good thing. What I'm saying is we're not shocked by it because that's the way he is. If I know that Bob in accounting is an outright racist and he doesn't like black people, black and brown people, then I'm fine with that. At least I know how he is. I'm not expecting anything from Bob because I know how Bob acts. But Steve in HR, these are scenarios I'm giving you, just making them up. Steve in HR claims, oh, some of my best friends are black and Jewish. And he acts as if he's the world-loving guy, but he's actually an anti-Semite and can't stand black people. But he's pretending and playing the role. That is far more offensive, people. That is where people get upset. And that's what she's having a hard time understanding. Trump, yeah, it's not hard to pick on Trump. It's not hard to point out the fact that, yeah, he bangs porn stars, he's cheating on his wife, he's not the most moral guy, he's a degenerate by many standards of like an American citizen or like what we would consider morally a good person. He's a degenerate, he's a character. This guy, he is what he is, right? Politics aside, as a person, but he kind of wears it. And he wears it, and that's just the way he is. The bigger issue is when you have people standing in front of you telling you, we are so great. We are the shining example of what it should be like to be an American, to be a citizen. We believe in family values, and we don't lie, and we hold ourselves accountable, and we follow the letter of the law, and we would never do the things that they would do. We are so much higher. Again, when they go low, we go high. When they go low, we go high. That is the issue that she just can't seem to understand.
People are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay? I feel like we're going to the Super Bowl every year, but I'm not delusional. Well, no, that is delusional. But when it comes... But when it comes to political parties, if you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about anything.
That's why I'm an independent.
Yes, but
I think that's the best way to go.
But that's not a monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
But why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats are
wrong. So you don't think Joe Biden is wrong?
No, I don't. And can I just point this out to you? The president has a pardon power,
you're ridiculous.
Right?
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg.
Yeah,
I would never. I said that. I just think that's
think
ridiculous.
about it. Just think about it this way. Just very quickly, can you reframe it in this way and think about it maybe in this way? The president has the ultimate pardon power. Every president has done this, right?
Yeah.
And so people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour and his son is on an enemies list. And so he is using his rightful power, his rightful political power.
Wait. So on a revenge tour, sorry about the interruption there. On a revenge tour, first of all, this is something also that Charlamagne The God is unaware of. And also the group of Yentas there, same thing, right? They refuse to acknowledge the fact that the FBI clearly was found to be on a witch hunt when it came to Donald Trump. The whole Steele dossier thing, the whole Russia gate, the whole thing turned out to be a hoax. And the FBI was corrupt, and these institutions are corrupt. And Trump going after them, like this nomination of Kash Patel to FBI, like it makes sense that he wants to gut them. Everyone's shaking in their boots going, oh, he's going to come after people. Yes, he's probably going to come after the people who have done illegal activities to try to take down a presidential nominee or president, right? Like, it makes sense if you understand the full picture and the context of everything. If all you think is they want to lock up media. No, they don't want to lock up media, people. But if investigations come and it's found out that Biden administration, which this is already proven, right? Biden administration worked with several tech companies, Facebook and Google, to suppress information, to push information, to do things on Twitter prior to Elon Musk owning it and changing it to X. If all these little scams and things were taking place, which are illegal, then you want somebody to handle the FBI and the deep state and get that all worked out, right? That's what you want. And she's having a hard time. I don't even like the way, trying to tell him to reframe this. right? So it's not a revenge tour. Oh, you know, I better get my son. Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, she's actually right, because maybe she is aware of the fact that he's guilty of all that stuff that's going on with Ukraine and his father. It's a criminal enterprise and what they're doing, and it's going to come out, which is why, again, the pardon was so broad. So the fact that, but it's not a revenge tour. If she spoke honestly, she would say, well, perhaps the idea that Hunter might be, you know, prosecuted later on for things taking place, that's a fantasy. There's no way she was going to say any of that, but that's...
To pardon his son. Now, is that a lie, or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied almost 40,000 times during his first term?
Well, I can't say what it is because I'm not in
the moral high ground? Like, what's the faux outrage?
Also, a certain amount of lies give you the moral high ground. So you lied more, so that means we're superior to you. Just the very rationale is ridiculous. Like, she's comparing who's better, who's more superior, who's morally superior, who's more righteous. Us, we only lie a little bit and sometimes, and when we think it's convenient to. He lies all the time outright.
Neither one of them have the moral high ground. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. But when you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, you refuse to be objective about the other party. Like, it's like we're watching them do something wrong, but we're making excuses for it. We watch Republicans do things wrong and they make excuses for it. Why can't we just all be objective and call it what it is?
Because it's not balanced.
It's not the same.
But wait, there's more. We gotta go. We're coming right back. We'll be right back.
No, it's okay. I'm not interested in coming right back. Look. He made some valid points. There is no objectivity when it comes to, you know, being on either side. I think both camps are guilty of that. I think Republicans and Democrats will often, like the Trump supporters, the MAGA people who are so pro-MAGA, like refusing to acknowledge, like, you know, like Joe Rogan going kind of back on a lot of things he said in the past about Trump, and now he's kind of like everything Trump does is fantastic. It's like, let's not lose sight of the fact that although Trump may have been or may prove to be a better option than the Dems and Kamala Harris, who was totally unqualified for that office, doesn't necessarily mean that Trump is the best choice overall and is actually going to do anything fantastic, and that doesn't come with his flaws. Like, let's be honest. So there's tons of people on the Republican side, that MAGA side, who refuse to see things objectively as well. But the Democrats are specifically, obviously, they're doing it, and they're doing it of a hell of a lot more. But I don't want to play sides. I don't want to do the whole thing of we're better than them because we only lied a certain amount of times, and, well, we're better than them because we lie a certain way, so it makes us better. It's ridiculous. But the bottom line is the Biden pardon for Hunter was based on something totally beyond just the tax evasion and the gun charge. And it was a broad pardon for a broad period of time that really should not have been done. And I hope Trump does go after, and I hope the Department of Justice, I hope they all go after who they need to go after to clean these organizations up and get things the right way. As for The View, I'm not sure why these ladies are still, again, I can't figure it out. I don't know. Time to Talk podcast. Time to talk. Subscribe if you've not yet subscribed. We're growing the channel. I really appreciate the people who have already subscribed. Hit the like button on the way out, please. I truly appreciate that. It changes everything. It changes the algorithm and make sure that people see the content and we can keep going and growing here to bring you all this interesting talk about stuff, all right? I'll see you on the next Time to Talk podcast. Peace.